If you're happy and you know it, shout hooray!
Hooray!
If you're happy and you know it, shout hooray!
Hooray!
If you're happy and you know it, then your face will surely show it. If you're happy and you know it, shout hooray!
Hooray!
Welcome to week 26 of my pregnancy. I can't even believe it. According to my sources, either week 27 or 28, depending on who you talk to, is when the third trimester starts. So that means that this could be the last week of my second trimester. Holy cow, how did that happen? It really seems like the time is just starting to fly now. I'm starting to have these realizations like, oh my god, like we're going to have a baby here in 3 months. That's a little bit crazy to think about. Still sometimes feels so surreal, but I have these moments where it hits me. I'm like, oh yeah, we better get the ball rolling here. We have a lot to do before she arrives. So I know this update might seem pretty close to last week's updates because I apologize, last week's update got up a little bit late. I had a lot going on. But I'm back on track this week, so here we go. I know during last week's update I did a lot of non-pregnancy updating and whatnot, but this week it's going to be mostly about pregnancy because it's been a pretty uneventful week in our lives, so there's not much to talk about there anyway. So let's jump right into pregnancy stuff. So I have to tell you this story, it's so funny. One of my dear friends, I know you're watching, she is also pregnant right now and she is about 6 weeks ahead of me right now, and she has been my preggy buddy. We were both, trying to conceive around the same time, and we both ended up getting pregnant within a month and a half of each other, which has been really awesome. And so we've really bonded over that, and we've been texting almost every single day since we got pregnant, just talking pregnancy symptoms and anything and everything pregnancy and mother related, all of that. So it's been a real blessing. I feel like we've become really good friends especially since we've been sharing our pregnancies together this time around. She and I text about like every little detail in the world. All the little details that I won't even put on the vlog. And so, but it's so nice it's been such a blessing to have a friend like that in this pregnancy. I didn't really have that when I was pregnant the first time. I felt, like I was definitely, I had friends who were pregnant, but none of them that I was close enough to like talk about all the dirty details with, So I really feel like that's been a real blessing. So anyway, that said, she sent me the funniest text the other day. She said, hey Amanda, over Christmas break, do you want to get together and make witch hazel padsicles together? It was just so funny because she was like proposing this as like, let's get together and craft kind of idea, but no, we're talking about witch hazel padsicles. And if you don't know what we're talking about, basically, TMI alert, witch hazel is an excellent remedy for postpartum for the nether regions, if you know what I mean. It's an anti-inflammatory and it really helps things heal. And this is something that my midwife had me do when I gave birth last time as well, is to just get a really huge maxi pads and just douse them in witch hazel and then stick them in the freezer. And you get a supply of these. The combination of the witch hazel and its anti-inflammatory properties along with it being cold and icy really helps things heal. And so anyway, it was just so funny that she like sent me this text, hey man, do you want to make some witch hazel padsicles together? I'm like, hey, yeah, let's do it. So anyway, the joys of pregnancy, it's fun to share with your friends. As for cravings, I haven't talked about cravings in a while. It really has been pretty consistent. I guess I know it's not true for everyone, but like, I know I've been kind of the stereotype in that I am having a girl and I have consistently had sweet cravings. And if you guys have watched all of my diet videos and everything, you know that I really don't eat refined sugar. So when I say sweet, It generally means that I'm craving like a lot of fruit, and I sweeten things with stevia and like maple syrup and honey, that kind of thing. So I've been eating a lot of foods sweetened with those things and a lot of fruit. I've really just been craving, like, it's really, I mean, I have been eating vegetables, which is good, but I've been eating even way more fruit than I have been vegetables. I just can't get enough of it, it feels like. And especially that citrus, that's been a really continuous craving for me, is like orange, like just those little cutie oranges. Especially since they're in season right now, so they're really tasty. You can get them at Costco and everything. And just like the orange juice, orange juice has been a very, very consistent craving for me. And it actually was in my last pregnancy too, so I don't know, I guess my body just wants the vitamin C or something. But the one craving that I have had that has been like my go-to meal for like, I can eat it for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Most of the time I have it for breakfast, but if I haven't planned a dinner or something, I'll make it for dinner too. This craving is basically, I want to have an over easy fried egg on a piece of toast with just a little bit of pure maple syrup drizzled over it. And it is just satisfying like no other. It is just, so it has the protein and it has just a little bit of sweet from the syrup, and oh, it is so good. It is satisfying and it makes my pregnant belly happy. All right, guys, let's have another frank conversation about weight gain. At 26 weeks, I have gained 31 pounds. Yes, and you know, looking back, I kept track of my weight gain with my pregnancy with Alex, and it really is kind of crazy that my weight gain pattern is almost identical, almost. I mean, you know, sometimes it's off this week or that week by a pound or two, but like the pattern is almost exactly the same, and I am basically up the exact same number of pounds that I was at 26 weeks with Alex. And so this really is just how my body gains weight in pregnancy. You've probably seen my video on making peace with your pregnant and post-pregnant body. I'll link that down below. Check it out if you haven't seen it already. And I really do feel like I have made a lot more peace with my body since my last pregnancy. I've just accepted a lot more that this is just how my body operates in pregnancy. But at the same time, like as I say in that video, like it's not like a struggle that completely goes away. It's like when I step on the scale and I see that number, I'm like, whoa, it's still, you know, I still have a kind of emotional reaction like, oh my God, like I'm getting so much weight. But then again, in that video, I have my mantra of reminding myself, Amanda, cut it out. I say a little prayer and I ask God, Lord, help me to see myself the way that you see me. And it really does help. Helps me, you know, because I still get in little funks about it sometimes, but just remembering that, it really does help me feel better. And it's interesting, just like seeing how my lifestyle is different this pregnancy versus last pregnancy. My first pregnancy, I felt like I was exercising quite a bit. Like I was walking a lot, I was swimming, I was still even going to the gym at that point. We don't even have a gym membership now anymore. So I was exercising quite a bit. I mean, maybe like 2 or 3 times a week very consistently, and like really getting my heart rate up too, like doing a really good aerobic exercise. But I feel like my diet wasn't as, I mean, it was pretty darn good, but I feel like it's even better this time. So compared to this time, I feel like my diet is really good this pregnancy. But I am not exercising nearly as much as I did last time. It is so much harder when I have a toddler. I can't just go to the gym whenever I want, and I can't just go to the swimming pool whenever I want to go to a lap swim. Basically, I feel like the only exercise that I can really do with my child is going out and walking, and this time of year that's not always possible with the weather and everything. Thankfully this week we actually did get a couple, kind of partly sunny days, and this weekend actually, me and Bill and Alex all went for a really long walk. We went for like an hour and a half or something, brought Alex to the park, and let him play on the swing and everything. And so that was great. That's like the biggest amount of exercise I've done in a while, actually. And I have been walking at least once a week, sometimes twice, but that's about it. It's not ideal. I would like to be doing more, but I just kind of feel limited in what I'm able to do. But anyway, I was comparing this pregnancy with last pregnancy. So I feel like, you know, I was exercising really well in the last pregnancy, and, you know, my diet was good, but this pregnancy I feel like my diet is great, but I'm not exercising as much, and yet with both of those lifestyle changes, my weight gain is still exactly the same. So it's like, no matter what I do, I am just bound to gain like 50 pounds when I get pregnant. So it is what it is. So that's where I am with that. And, you know, speaking of exercise and everything, just in terms of energy, like I have really been struggling with energy. Especially the last week or two, I think, you know, still recovering from the craziness of going to Oregon over the break and Alex not sleeping. I feel like it took me a full week to recover from that. Like, thankfully this weekend, Bill and I helped each other sleep in and take naps and stuff, you know, tag teaming while watching Alex, and that was really good. So we both got some good sleep this weekend, and I feel like finally catching up a bit, but my energy is just like, oh, and just my motivation. It's like some days it's just like I have such a hard time getting my butt in gear and getting something done, you know? It's so easy to just like sit on the couch with Alex and like read with him or watch a show or just like, you know, dink around on my phone or whatever instead of doing anything. And so, I mean, I've been staying on top of laundry, which is good, but as I've mentioned in previous videos, my nemesis is dishes. Oh my gosh, I hate doing dishes, and I have just been so lazy about dishes. It's bad, guys. And so they really pile up, and you know, once the sink is completely full and it's starting to overflow onto the counter, and I'm like, guess it's time to do dishes, and I will like hunker down and turn on my YouTube videos and tackle them and, you know, load it, and it's like an entire load of dishes in the dishwasher, and just like my energy and motivation is just like, oh my God, my get up and go has gotten up and gone. But I'm hoping that this week, since we really had a good restful weekend, that maybe I'll be doing a little bit better this next week. We shall see. But yeah, I mean, also just talking about sleep, I probably mentioned before that Bill and I are extreme night owls. We are just wired that way, and it is so hard to change those habits. And so we definitely go to bed pretty late every night. I mean, you know, we usually head up for bed around 1. Sometimes, you know, we're not asleep until around 2. I mean, that's pretty typical for us. And with Alex's sleep schedule, it works decently well, because Alex usually sleeps 12 hours. He usually sleeps like 8:30 to 8:30. So, you know, we can still get a good 6-hour chunk of sleep. And then I almost always take an hour and a half, you know, an hour to hour and a half nap with Alex in the afternoon. So I'm getting a total of about 7.5 hours of sleep every day, so which is good, even though it's not like a straight chunk. But like, I feel like I'm getting to the point in my pregnancy where doing that normal habit of ours is not flying anymore. Like, we really need to like hunker down and go to bed earlier, but it is so hard for us. Let me tell you that like I can be really disciplined about a lot of other things. Like if I put my mind to it, I can be disciplined about exercise and like eating well, and that kind of thing. But like when it comes to the like staying up late, that is seriously our vice. Like, it is hardwired, and like I've been that way since I was a kid. Like, I just come alive at night, and I just get like all this energy at night, and that I, you know, don't have during the day. Like I said before, I'm dragging throughout the day, and then sometimes at night I get that energy and I start getting things done, and then it gets late, you know. So, you know, it's really hard to change that habit. It's really hard. So, you know, really struggling with that one. Trying to have the discipline to just bite the bullet, even if we're being productive, just stopping and going to bed. So that's my goal for the rest of this pregnancy, I think, is to just really try to focus on going to bed earlier and just getting some extra sleep, because I know I really need it. Hip pain. So, oh my gosh, the hip pain has definitely been the worst it's been this week. You know, I mentioned that, you know, we went for this long walk this weekend as a family, and we were probably out for a good hour and a half or something. Like, it was a long walk. I mean, we stopped at the park for Alex and everything, but it was definitely the longest walk I had been on in a while. I mean, obviously because I had the whole bed rest thing, you know, I've been just like easy, you know, I've been doing like half-hour walks, but I hadn't done one nearly that long since before I had bed rest. Anyway, so it felt so great to get out, but like when I got back, my hips, oh my gosh, I was practically limping. They were in so much pain. I've discovered that it really is just like spasming muscles in my hips and my butt. Thank God I have Bill, because I really have trained him well. He just knows how to find that muscle with his elbow and just get it. And that really helped. But even that by itself is not enough to cut it now. Like, it's like a chronic thing. I think it's getting deeper into my ligaments now too. With all the relaxin hormone going through my system, it really is like loosening up my pelvis now. I can really feel my pelvis loosening, which is supposed to do preparing for birth. But man, it is causing me some hip troubles, since those ligaments are really stretching. So yeah, fun times. So thankfully this last week I had another prenatal massage. Oh, it was glorious. Those of you ladies who are pregnant and have not yet scheduled a prenatal massage, go schedule your prenatal massage now. It is so good for you and it feels amazing. It really does help with a lot of those pregnancy aches and pains that really start setting in the second, third trimesters. Of course, I'm a little biased since I'm a massage therapist, you know, but I really think that a lot of good can come from massage, and there are just so many reasons to do it. I mean, it helps relieve stress, you know, it helps relieve the aches and pains. It increases the endorphins running through your bloodstream. I mean, just all these things that are good for you and good for baby. And so that was really nice, and I'm going to be hopefully getting one now every other week or so for the remainder of the pregnancy. I cannot wait. So finally, we are in flu season now. I've heard that this year the flu is particularly severe, and that the strain that they were predicting for the flu shot this year ended up being the wrong one, because, you know, every year they actually don't know which strains are going to be the most prevalent, and they're just making an educated guess, and sometimes they're right, sometimes they're not. And this year they weren't right. So the strains that are going around are not the ones that you're protected by the flu shot from. And I got a flu shot this time around, this pregnancy. I didn't last pregnancy, and I did this time. My doctor talked me into it, but I guess it's not going to do any good anyway since they got the wrong strain. Anyway, that all said, like, I have become a germaphobe. Seriously. I'm really not a germaphobe most of the time. I really am not. Like, I really don't freak out and get like anal about cleaning and, you know, that kind of, I mean, you know, I do my basic hygiene. It's, you know, washing hands, basic stuff like that, but I usually don't freak out about it. But for some reason, at this point in my pregnancy, I'm freaking out about it, which is a little unusual for me. I think it's just that, like, I'm already physically uncomfortable as it is being pregnant, and like I really don't want to get sick on top of all of that and have to take care of a toddler on top of that. I feel like I had my fair share of feeling that way in the first trimester. I feel like, you know what, I did my time. I did my 3 months of having to take care of a small child while feeling like I had the flu. And I just don't want to do that anymore. And I think I also have a bit more of a phobia this time because when I gave birth to Alex, about a week or so before I gave birth, we were part of a small group at our church at the time, and I was exposed to a small child who was pretty sick when we were there. Like, he had a fever and he was like sneezing snot all over the place, and like I remember kind of thinking at the time, like, maybe they should have canceled the small group, or like, because it was the people who were hosting. I was like, or maybe they should have at least warned us that the kid was sick before we came. Whatever. I thought, yeah, I'll probably be okay, wash my hands, whatever, you know, it's probably not that big of a deal. But the day after I gave birth, all three of us, me, Bill, and brand new little baby Alex, we all got this bug. And it was horrible. It was horrible. We all had, and it was kind of scary because here was newborn Alex. He was just like a day or two old and he was sick. And that's like the thing you're trying to, you try to keep people away from your newborn, right? Because you don't want them to get sick, because it can be dangerous for a newborn with an immature immune system, right? But I remember just being kind of upset about that we, without any warning, were exposed to this sick child, and then we all got sick. And we were sick for like almost 2 weeks. Like we all three of us had fevers and we couldn't breathe because the congestion and the snot and all that was just so bad. And then it morphed into this horrible persistent cough. And mind you, I had just given birth. And so I was having to recover with a cough. And I had a 35-hour labor. And those of you who have had a baby before, had a vaginal delivery before, you know that it takes a toll in your nether region, so to speak. And you really want to be lying down and not being active, and it takes a while for all of that to heal and recover as it is. And I had this cough and I couldn't lie down, because if I lied down, the cough would be so bad it would make me gag and want to throw up. It was so bad. So I had to be up. So just first of all, the being in the upright position and then having this horrible cough on top of that, I'll just let you imagine what that did for my healing process. It basically made my healing take probably twice as long as it should have. It was not fun. And so I think that little experience kind of traumatized me and is making me, as I'm getting further in my pregnancy and closer to the 3rd trimester, I think it's kind of making me a germaphobe this time. Anyway, so that said, like, I'm really kind of wanting to be a hermit right now. Like, I go out and we go shopping and that kind of thing. But like the other day I took Alex to Fred Meyer and I put him in the cart. I didn't have my shopping cart cover with me, and I just felt like so gross after touching the shopping cart and like having him putting his hands all over it and like, putting his hands in his mouth. Just like some deep instinct in me was just like, gross, get away. Like I don't want to be in the public places. Like, it's crazy. Like, especially when I have Alex with me, because he doesn't know not to like touch things and then put his hands in his mouth. Like, he doesn't understand about all of that yet, obviously. He's not even 2 yet. So anyway, so that said, like, I feel like I'm shying away from like wanting to do things in public places, especially when I have Alex with me, because I really don't want to get sick. I really don't want to go through that experience again. And so unfortunately that also means church. And if you watched my vlog a couple weeks ago, you probably also saw that we're having a challenge with getting to church anyway, with Alex going through a phase with separation anxiety right now, and he does not want to be in the nursery. Anyways, there's like all these reasons where we just like really don't feel like going to church right now. So yeah, I think in that department we're just gonna have to stick with listening to our sermon podcasts online. We're still thinking of maybe joining a small group at this point, but then again, like, that same part of me is like, no, don't join a group with little small children, because I don't want Alex to pick it up. I don't want all of us to get sick. Like, anyway, here I am rambling on. Like, it really is unusual for me to be that germophobic. Usually I don't care. I'm like, usually whatever, my immune system can handle this stuff, not a big deal. But for whatever reason, I guess I was traumatized last time around and I do not want to get sick. And so I've just really been feeling like staying home a lot. I'm probably blowing that up in my head way more than I need to. I know that I can't live in a bubble, but that's just how I've been feeling lately. Last thing, just to end on a happy note, baby girl has been moving so much. I think I mentioned last week as well, but that you can like actually see my belly twitch from the outside, and that is really cool. All those little movements in there just continuing to remind me like, oh yeah, there's a little baby girl coming. I'm starting to get really curious now, like, is she, you know, who's she gonna look like? Is she gonna look more like me or Bill, or a combination kind of like Alex? Or, you know, is she gonna look like Alex, or is she gonna be different? Is she, you know, how's her personality gonna be? Like, I'm just really starting to get curious about all that, and really excited that I get to find out in 3 short months. On that note, that is all I have for this week, you guys. And let me do a quick belly shot. Alright guys, there's the belly from that side and the front and the other side. Alright, thanks for watching, you guys, and if you haven't subscribed already, be sure to do so below. If you like this video, click the thumbs up button, and I will look forward to seeing you in my pregnancy update next week. So hope you guys all have a great week, and we'll see you next time. Take care, guys. Bye.